Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. I'm Michael Gazelny. They say tough times never last, but tough people do. And thank you very much for watching the show another week. You know, we've interviewed more than 500 people over the last 5 years, and I'm very, very impressed how people come in and just share their stories. And it's quite amazing. I really enjoy authentic and real people. And on tonight's show, we've got a great man, very down to earth, very authentic, very real, Daryl Ford, a terrific fella. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Michael.
Now, he's not a crook and he's not a drug dealer and hasn't been to prison, but what an amazing story. Daryl has works as a carpenter. He's spent the last 11 years helping disadvantaged youth at the boxing gym in Glenroy. But he's also experienced some tough times himself. He went through a bit of a marriage breakup there, wasn't coping well, got onto the grog, got done for drink driving a couple of times and almost landed behind bars.
Correct.
But at the end of the day, it was all a bit of an experience, wasn't it?
Very much so, and very inexpensive experience.
Very experienced, yeah. Very, very expensive. And, and we went to court there for that last incident. But where did it all start off initially? You're a bit of a boxer, Daryl. Tell me about the boxing, the passion for that.
Yeah, well, I've been involved in boxing since a kid. Fought myself, and at the age of about 33, I went down to the local gym, which is in Glenroy, and I was helping the old bloke out there to run the gym. And he passed away after 10 months, and I've taken it over ever since. And we've had quite a few boys and girls come through the gym, and a lot of them have gone on to bigger and better things through boxing.
Yeah, I heard. I mean, people speak so highly about you. You know, they in that area. Not many people give their time willingly to help others. You know, isn't that right, viewers? So many people. It's all about me, me, me. What can I get? But it's such a boring life if you go through life and it's all about me. I mean, we're born and then we go through all this stuff, you know, the holidays, the nice cars, the nice clothing, the perfumes. But what a boring life if you get to the end without sharing it all.
Correct.
You know? Yeah. And that's why I've always been so impressed with you, mate. You, how many hours do you spend there every week?
I'm there 2.5 to 3 hours a night, Monday to Friday. And people say to me, oh, why don't you work back later at work and make money? I'm doing it for nothing, but over the years, I've been to Russia with Kostya Zoo for taking a team of kids for a tournament. I've been to England, I've been to Scotland, I've been to New Zealand. I've had these paid trips. So what I'm sacrificing with my time, I've had some good experiences from it.
I can imagine, mate, some good experience. And,
absolutely.
And even though it's tough sometimes, it's rewarding, isn't it?
Absolutely. And when you see a kid that you've taken from just an angry little person into a controlled boxer that goes on and wins a title and controls that anger, and he's not belting kids on the street anymore or on the football field. He's actually doing it in a controlled environment, and they become better people for it.
That's fantastic, viewers, isn't it? People like Daryl Ford here going out of his way to help others. And I get the same in the courts. I get all these young fellas coming in for drugs and assaults and hoon legislation, and they come in with an attitude problem. You know, I can sense the attitude problem as soon as they come through the door at the office or the magistrate's court, and they sit there like this, you know, defensive. And I usually find if you show a bit of interest and make them feel important, they warm up to you and change their attitude. And a lot of the time it's because they might have had mum and dad who are both alcoholics or drug addicts, or they used to fight and bash each other, or dad left and had affairs and took off when the kid was 4 years old. But there's a lot of kids who are angry because of the parents, isn't it?
Absolutely. And then I have other kids that come in that obviously get picked on at school, and their parents bring them in to teach them a bit of self-defence, which boxing is all about controlled aggression. And even though I tell the kids when they come in, you know, you can see the little chubby ones, you can tell they've been picked on. So you give them a little bit of confidence, they join in with the other boys, and all of a sudden, you know, they do it for a year or two, they get more confident, and they don't seem to be getting picked on anymore because people know they're doing a bit of boxing. So it's all about giving kids the confidence in life.
That's right, isn't it? Confidence is so important, and attitude, folks. You know, I always say poor attitude, poor outcomes in life, average attitude, average outcome. So if you try to have a super fantastic attitude, you do activate a good world, don't you? I used to think boxing was a bit of a mugs game years ago until I met this fantastic bloke, and a very good friend of mine called Henry Nissen. He was recently awarded into the Hall of Fame for boxers, but and having gone to some of the functions, I've now learnt over the last sort of 15 years or so that
Absolutely.
It's a great sport for young people, isn't it?
It is, and the respect boxers have for other boxers. You only have to go to one of the past and present boxers meetings, and it's just they just love each other.
It's a terrific family.
They might have got in the ring one day and tried to kill each other, but the mateship that goes on in boxing is unbelievable.
I know. I went to the what do you call it? The induction to the Hall of Fame a few times, and it's just amazing how everybody knows each other. But there's that level of respect.
Correct.
Much better than the Freemasons or any of those religious groups, you know.
Oh, I don't know.
Who needs the religious groups when you got mates like that who'd
and all the kids that are down the gym, whether they're old or young, everybody's on the same level playing field, you know.
Yeah.
The old respect the young, and the young angry ones look up to the older boys and girls, and it's just I believe that boxing's very good for kids that need confidence.
What about all those tough-nosed people who say boxing attracts a lot of crooks?
Well, I don't know about that because I don't have any crooks that come down the gym, and I have just kids that are just basically just knocking around the streets and might get into a bit of a fight or something, and they just come down to the boxing gym
and I suppose you teach them boxing, but at the same time you're instructing and you're also mentoring in a way, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course you are.
You try and give the kids advice with what experiences I've had. And
you're a terrific dad. You've got Jamie and Ashley.
Ashley
two
and
beautiful
Jamie,
daughters.
Yes, beautiful girls, and they're 16 and 14.
Fantastic.
And
you see them
beautiful.
a lot?
Yeah, we do.
Good on you.
That's great.
Now you're teaching all these kids how to get back on track, and you're working during the day as a builder. But you're telling me when I went to court with you, you went through some tough times there in the relationship.
Yes.
And you went off the rails there for a while, didn't you?
Oh yeah, we, me and my ex-wife, we had a bit of a wedge between us because I was heading down a path and spending a lot of time with me boxing and travelling and taking boys interstate, and she was going down a path, and then we would fight, and we just end up separating.
It's a common occurrence. Yeah.
And going through that at that stage. I could be the person down the gym that the kids look up to and what have you, but when I'm on my own, it's like I need someone to, you know what I mean? So I turned to alcohol in a big way at the time, and if I wasn't down there with the boys training, I would just get home and drink.
And it's so amazing because I've seen you around the young workers and the apprentices. You're so responsible, and you say, you're probably one of the most organised people I've met, but we'll talk about that later. We'll be back very shortly on Tough Times with Daryl Ford. Welcome back to the show. I'm Michael Gazzelli. We've got Daryl Ford on the couch, one of life's helpers, helps the disadvantaged youth around Broadmeadows and Glenroy to get back on track through the boxing, and of course has had a bit of strife himself with some drink driving offences and could have gone to jail but didn't, thank God for that. It's quite amazing because you're such a deep thinker. I mean, you get pissed in that and you think, God, I'll probably get caught. But I suppose it was such a low time in your life.
It was. It was. I got caught and I went on a bender, and it started on a Friday night, and come Sunday I had to pick my car up, and I was that drunk, and I actually got in the car to start it. I didn't even drive it, and I fell asleep and someone had rang the police and they come and got me, and I blew a high reading, and from then onwards, it just seemed to follow me.
Isn't that amazing, viewers? Yeah. I see that so often, having been around the criminal justice system for the last 25 years now, first as a cop and then as a criminal defence lawyer. I always find that people who are going through a tough time, unless we change that attitude that a negative mind activates a negative world. It's you see people getting divorced and then drinking and then this, and it's almost like a domino effect. So we should really try to... they say fake it until you make it, don't they?
Absolutely.
And then another drink driving offence after that.
Another one after that.
And I think we went to Broadmeadows and we got the big talk about jail, didn't we?
Correct. And I
actually
got 100 hours community service for that second drink drive charge.
Yeah, tell me about community service. What was that all about?
I was a little bit bitter at the time because, I've been doing this community service already with my boxing gym, and I had references and everything, and the judge didn't want to know about it. Sent me to 100 hours community service, which I done, and that was at the Salvation Army on a Sunday from 11 till 4, so it sort of like wrecked your weekend. Couldn't do things with the kids.
At the end of the day, folks, though, although I love and respect this man, at the end of the day, what comes around goes around, and there'd be other people out there who would say, well, he deserved everything he got, because nobody wants drink drivers on the road. And I always say we're the slaves to our own actions, aren't we?
That's right.
You know, people always ring me up all the day, oh, Michael, you wouldn't believe what happened. I'm in trouble. I've got to go to jail. I've got to pay fines. And I say, well, look in the mirror and say, I'm responsible. Because really we're responsible, aren't we?
Correct.
You know, so we can't whinge about stuff.
That's right. So I copped all that on the chin.
You copped it on the chin.
And I got my licence back, and I got one of those alcohol interlocks.
But you would have been the model defendant at the Office of Corrections, really.
Yes. They were actually, when I got my licence back and finished my CBO, I actually got a letter from Corrections to go into partnership with them with the boxing gym. To send people to do community service.
Isn't that amazing?
And I never went ahead with it, and it was only just before last Christmas, but down the track, because the facilities need a little bit of cleaning up at the moment.
Right.
So if we get another facility, I would look at doing something.
Isn't that amazing how one thing leads to another? So they obviously found out about all the good work you did and were quietly impressed with it all.
Absolutely.
Daryl, then of course, it's almost like a double punishment. We get our licences back these days, and the Victorian government make us put in an interlock device.
Oh, my God.
And they're a nightmare, aren't they?
Oh, my God.
And if some of the viewers have got interlocks in their car, not only are they embarrassing, but very costly.
Very costly,
very costly.
And I've got to go back to court to get it taken off next month.
Yes.
And I've got one high BAC reading, and I had 2 kids with me in the car. I ate a sausage roll and sauce, and it blew .064. And I've got to explain that to a magistrate, and they don't want to know.
And I believe him because I know he's changed his life around completely. He hardly drinks these days, but we had this... he had an unfortunate incident. We had to go to court, and he had the interlock on one car and then bought himself a new van, and he was in the process of getting an interlock on the new van, and the battery went flat on the other. I mean... It really wasn't a blatant disregard, was it? Some people never put it on and
I know.
Just flout the law, but yours was a real mistake, wasn't it?
I've got a brand new van sitting there with air conditioning. It was on the 7th of January, and I started back work, and I hadn't driven the old van, and it kept getting flat batteries, and I had a flat battery this day, and I ran the gauntlet and drove the brand new van all the way down to Aspendale from West Meadows, and coming home that night, I got caught, and I just could not believe it.
Isn't it amazing? So I still remember you had the interlock on one and the battery went flat.
Yes.
And they said you can't put a new battery in it.
Yes. Once you've got an interlock, you cannot touch any of the electrical in that car.
And with the new van, you had already booked in to get an interlock on that?
Yes.
The next day or something?
No, that was booked on the Monday, and this was on a Thursday, and... I just made that bad decision.
And then
at the time.
his driver, who was supposed to drive, he found out that his apprentice was suspended on a suspended driver's licence. So it all snowballed.
It did.
Trying to make a living, didn't hurt anyone, but still he got the talking to.
I copped it
and
again.
I don't know whether the court listened to us or not. You know, hear so many stories, and sometimes they might become a bit negative, but that's all water on the bridge now, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's water under the bridge.
It's a lesson. that I've learned. Yeah,
And an
paid
expensive one.
Paid a lot of money.
This whole exercise of the drink driving, I mean, it didn't only cost the licence, but how much money did it cost you?
Well, I've still got to go back to court and get the interlock taken off, but to date, I ran about $15,000.
That's a lot of money.
A lot of money. That's with solicitors, that's with fines, that's with interlocks and changing interlocks from
I didn't
one
charge
car
you too
to
much,
the
did
other. You're all right. You know, $170 a month to download on the interlock.
It's a lot.
100 hours community service.
We'll talk about all that, all those calming effects shortly. We'll be back very shortly on Tough Times. And welcome back. Thank you for watching on this lovely Wednesday night. We've got young Daryl on the couch, and he's a terrific fella. Not only does he work hard, he's a fantastic father. He's got 2 beautiful daughters, but he helps disadvantaged youth as well in his own time. And I'm very impressed with him because he's mucked up a bit there, but he's now using those mistakes to, help other young people and share his story. A lot of people muck up, but they keep it all hidden and don't admit it, But I mean, no one's perfect. That's the thing. If you're a human being, we're not perfect. Some people think they are perfect, don't they?
They do.
But no one's perfect.
No, and people that do drink and drive, it's only a matter of time before they get caught.
It's all a matter of time.
With my experiences, I'll never, ever, ever have a drink again and get behind the wheel.
No.
Never again.
No.
And,
And it's good how you, you sort of learned that, but obviously you did that for a reason because you were down about something and you might have been depressed.
Absolutely.
You hit rock bottom, and that was that's how it unfolded. And and now you've gone through all that, and the young fellas, you can advise them not to go out and hit the piss on that.
I'm the first one to say to anybody that's down the gym that's saying they're going out for a party or something, I'll tell them straight up, don't drink and drive, because if you do, you're going to cop what I've copped, and if you cop one of those interlocks, you just throw money out.
What do you think of these interlocks? Are they?
Look, I think if the government's fair income, and there's a big problem with drink driving, I think that every new car from now should have some sort of alcohol locking system, because I believe that a lot of this is all revenue, and I think that if they're fair income, put it on every new car as from now on.
Fantastic, but not so complicated.
Just if you blow over a certain amount, you cannot start the car.
Yeah.
And that would just solve all the problems.
It's a lot of revenue making with the state government, isn't there?
There is.
What do you think of speed cameras?
Well, with all these changing speeds, you've got to constantly look at 40 to 50 to 60 to 80, back down to 40.
And he's so right, that's a whole new issue in itself. But, the state government expects $340 million from speed cameras every single year. And as a criminal defence lawyer, I get hundreds of phone calls every week from people saying they've set their cruise control or their GPS on 99. Even engineers ring me up and they get caught for 108, 110, 11. So it's quite obviously to me that there's a lot of faulty speed cameras out there, and it's been proven by a lot of people, but they're very hard to fight, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's very hard to convince a court that we're right and they're wrong.
That's right. And with this 40 Ks, you could be going along in a 50 K zone, and, if you're just going a bit of a daydream or something, all of a sudden it goes down to 40.
Things have changed there, haven't they?
There's always a camera somewhere.
Things have changed, Viewers, back in the old days when I was in the police force, the dangerous drivers, you'd pull them over and they deserve to lose their licence for 6 to 12 months. All the hoons and the ones who'd be doing 140 in a 60 zone. But these days, it's all the one-pointers, 1 point here, 1 point there, 3 points. And there's so many good Victorians, good drivers who've had, great records losing their licences, and I think it's just grossly unfair, grossly unfair, isn't it?
Yep.
And because there's so many people being disqualified every week, thousands every week, because of all these different issues, people are driving without their licence because they've got high mortgages, everything's so expensive.
Absolutely.
Isn't it?
It is. You see a lot of it, and I was in the court on the day with you, and there was a girl there that got off got off with a fine because she ran into a pedestrian, because the speed change kept changing on this road, and she looked down to monitor it and didn't see, and the distraction of looking and trying to keep that speed on the odometer, she hit that, and at the day that judge said that she understood that there's a lot of distractions on the road.
And Daryl, how's life now that you're out of the woods and everything's hunky-dory? You're sort of
good, great.
All good?
And I just got to get over this last little hurdle, getting this interlock taken off.
Yep.
And because of the inconvenience of it.
Of course.
And it plays up, and sometimes it just goes off, and you got to wait until it reboots.
And you want to move on, don't you? You don't want to be constantly reminded,
Yep.
That's the thing about all this delay with court cases. People come to me, sometimes they get the summons 12 months later and they're still worried about this court case. It'd be nice if, like the US system, if it was out the way within the next 3 months or something. But, two of the worst emotions are fear and guilt and regret, aren't they?
Absolutely.
And to be reminded of our wrongdoing.
Yeah, everybody, as you say,
no
one's perfect. Everybody mucks up, and at the end of the day, I think you're judged by everybody's not perfect. So your judgment, hopefully, if you're a good person, you'll be judged right for it.
Yeah, and what do you do for fun these days, Daryl? What do you do for fun?
For fun, well, I just work and boxing. Yeah, I don't really do a great deal these days.
How long do you box for?
I started when I was a kid, 12, 13, just poking around gyms, and I had my first amateur fight at 21, and I had my last fight was a pro fight at 26, and would you believe I'm probably fighting again in 3 weeks down in Tasmania. There's a Masters Games on.
Fair dinkum.
So, yeah, in the next week I'll be making a decision whether to go down and put it on for a bit of fun. But
good on you, mate.
But it's what, the old blokes that haven't let it go. I could be thinking it's a bit of fun, but it could be going into a war zone. But
and do you know the person you're fighting?
No. But
that'll be
fun. I've got to make a decision in a week because it's 3 weeks away. But I've been training and
good on you, mate.
But it's 44 now, and the reflexes aren't as good as they used to be.
You're only a young fella, mate. Good. It's going to be good, clean fun, and you probably
Absolutely.
deserve a couple of cold beers after that, mate. Because it's good to get together with the boys. We can't live like Catholic priests, can we?
No, that's right.
We can't give away everything and just eat vegetarian food, can we?
No.
Need
a bit of meat.
We still have to live and have fun.
Yep.
And just one last thing: if you gone to a blue or something at a pub and somebody wanted to smack you, what would you do? Being such a good fighter.
Well, you'd walk away. You'd try and just diffuse the situation. Fighting boxing is self-defence, number one. A lot of ex-boxers always get picked on in pubs because blokes that get a bit into them and they think that they could have a crack at it, but really they wanted to have a crack. What a boxer gets in a ring, these blokes would never be able to do. So there's always someone sucking you in, but you just walk away. You just laugh at them,
Yeah, good attitude, yeah.
When you go to the boxing, you've got experts everywhere in the crowd, but they only go to the boxing because they can't do it. They haven't got what's between their legs to get in the ring and do it.
Yes.
They'd rather sit out there and drink and wannabes.
Yeah, no, you've got a really good attitude. You've got a really good attitude. And what's your advice to some of the young people who've been impressed with all this underworld activity and crime and drugs and going out doing burgs and that sort of stuff?
I think young kids today should be like we were when we were growing up: sport, and just don't get involved in it.
Yeah.
Don't even
good point.
think about it. Just play sport. Get involved in organisations that are good and healthy, because there's that many lowlifes out there dealing drugs, and you don't want to get caught up in that.
No, he's quite right, Daryl, isn't he? With good causes comes good outcomes, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Every action has a reaction, and it's nice to be loving towards everybody. Thank you very much for watching. If you've got a story to share, please feel free to give me a call. But we'll see you next week. Love and best wishes. Thank you once again. Good night.